Here is how to assemble your Covert companion with the commercial door hook, bypass driver, and turning tool expansions. The blueprint for this build, along with others, can be found at covertinstruments.com. For this video, I'll keep a copy on the side of the screen to help you follow along. We're going to start with the turning tool expansion, but first we need to remove the fiber washers and screws that come pre-installed on the handle. We won't be using the keychain loop, but you can set it aside in case you decide to use it later. You may also want to keep the long screws for your own custom build, but today we're going to be using these short ones that come included in the accessory pouch. Prepare the empty handle by putting the small screws in and set it aside. For the turning tool expansion, install the male bracket first, ensuring that the tab is closest to you. Place the rubber tensioning sleeve and female bracket on next. These are used to secure the turning tools and will fit together when installed correctly. For the crossbar, the notch should be thicker on the left side. Having a threaded post ready will help you hold everything together and make the installation a little easier. Secure the other side and test to make sure that the turning tool bracket moves freely. In the open position, the brackets can be separated to load and unload tools. Keeping in mind the one on top will be most accessible, go ahead and mount the turning tools. To fit correctly, position the long end at the base with the working end facing in. With the turning tool expansion installed, we can go ahead and add the rest of the tools. But first we need to add an extra post on each side. When you add the rest of the tools, there's no right or wrong way to do it, but I find it easier to add everything on one side at a time. This way you can lock it in place and then do the other side. After the traveler's hook and knife tool, we're going to add our first washer. Next, we're going to add the warded picks, starting with the double long, a spacer, the single long, another spacer, the double short with a spacer, the single short with a spacer, the single-sided jiggler with a spacer, and then both of the rakes. These are not separated by a spacer. Next, add a metal washer and one of the commercial door hooks with the notched end facing towards you. To finish this side, we're going to add 2 more metal washers and then grab the handle with the short screw we already prepared to fasten it in place. We'll fine-tune the resistance after we finish the other side. This time we're going to start with a washer and the utility shim immediately followed by the notch decoder before we add our next washer. Next we'll add the comb picks, starting with the 4, the 5, and then the thin 6-tooth comb. For this build, we're leaving out the hockey stick and the thick 6-pin comb. Add the single bump and double-sided jigglers, each followed by a spacer, and then the short and medium hooks without a spacer in between. The bypass tool goes on next with the end facing towards you, followed by a fiber washer, a metal washer, and then the other door hook. In order to properly nest together, the notch on this one should face opposite of the other in the closed position. Add one last metal washer and then secure everything in place with the other screw. Keep in mind, this build is just a starting point. The Covert companion can be customized however you see fit.